Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So it was just recently reported that Nacho Beristain, he did an interview, Juan Marquez's trainer, and he said in this interview that Tim Bradley will beat Marquez in a rematch if Tim Bradley, quote unquote, runs in the ring like he did in the first fight. Let me tell you guys something. First off, you always have to read between the lines, because usually when someone says something, especially when they're trying to make it sound like they're saying something negative about another fighter or a possible opponent in the future, they usually are speaking in codes. And you have to basically hit the translate button and it will tell you exactly what they are really saying. See, because when I first read this article, the first thing that I thought of is, man, this means that Marquez is in trouble. This means that Team Marquez is in trouble. Because whenever you have your own trainer basically tell the whole wide world that my fighter can only beat Tim Bradley if he conforms to fighting the way that we want him to fight, you're in trouble. I mean, you really have to think of how ridiculous this comment sounds that Nacho made. This is like saying, we'll beat Manny Pacquiao as long as Manny Pacquiao doesn't use angles on us. As long as he doesn't use angles, we will win that fight guaranteed. That's how ridiculous it sounds. You just said to the whole wide world, the only way we can beat Tim Bradley is if he is not at his best. We cannot beat Tim Bradley under any circumstances. Only under particular circumstances can we beat Tim Bradley. So if Tim Bradley starts to use foot movement, agility, and angles, we don't know what we're going to do. We don't know what we're going to do. This is what Nacho Beristain just said. Understand something, guys. We're not talking about some inexperienced, very young trainer, some guy who's new to this. We're talking about a professional trainer who's been training professionals and amateurs all his life. This man is in his 70s. And what makes it even more comical is Nacho, he trains fighters to quote unquote run in the ring. Nacho is one of the main trainers who trained Johnny Gonzalez. Okay? He trains fighters to think. He trains fighters to fight with brains and not brawn. All right? So for him to say this is like really strange, to say the least. Okay? You're going to basically tell your possible future opponent how to beat Marquez. Do you guys realize how crazy that is? Well, let me give you just one more analogy. It's like if Superman, if nobody knew that Superman's weakness was kryptonite, and Superman, he walked up to one of his arch enemies, and he tells him, the only way you can destroy or beat me is if you come over here with some kryptonite. If you come over here with some kryptonite, I'll be too weak to fight, and I'll have no power. My power will be drained, and I will be as weak as a mortal. So what do you think this man is going to do right after Superman just told him what his weakness is? He's going to go out there and find him some damn kryptonite, right? And then something else that makes this comment very revealing is Nacho is basically telling the world that if Tim Bradley fights a certain way, Nacho, he won't know what to tell his fighter. That means he'll be in the ring and he'll be working Marquez's corner and he'll be left speechless. He'll be like, I don't know what to tell you, Marquez. I mean, the guy's using angles. He's moving around the ring. I don't know what to tell you, Marquez. You're on your own now. I'm sorry, man. I told you that if he ran, there was nothing that we could do. We might as well just give up. This is what Nacho is saying. Nacho is telling people that he is not as great of a trainer or as good of a trainer as I was giving him credit for. No elite trainer would ever say, if my opponent fights a certain way, we are going to be in trouble. We are going to lose this fight. What do we always hear someone like a Floyd Mayweather say? Someone like a Guillermo Rigo, an Andre Ward, and not even just them, a lot of fighters, what do we normally hear them say? We normally hear them say, it doesn't matter what my opponent wants to do. If he wants to box, he wants to run, he wants to counter, whatever he does, we'll be ready for it. We will be ready for whatever he wants to do. Okay? You don't say, we can only beat you if you get on your knees and put your hands down and stick your chin out. If you do that, oh, I guarantee you we'll beat you then. No, man, it doesn't work that way. I'm supposed to do things that makes you feel uncomfortable. I'm supposed to put the difficulty level on extremely hard mode, not easy mode. I'm not here to make this easy for you. Are you kidding me? And if all of that ain't bad enough when it comes to Nacho and Marquez, think about this. Tim Bradley didn't even run in the first fight. Tim Bradley, he threw more punches and he landed more punches than Marquez. All of the exchanges when they went toe-to-toe, they were all initiated by Tim Bradley. He was the one that initiated the toe-to-toe exchanges. And guess who got the best of all of the toe-to-toe exchanges? That's right. It was Tim Desert Storm Bradley. So that means even when Tim Bradley did exactly what Nacho is saying he needs Bradley to do in a rematch, Marquez was still losing the fight. Marquez almost got knocked down in the 12th round. He was staggered in the 10th round. He got backed up to the ropes in the 2nd round. All courtesy of Tim Bradley. It's really sad when it comes to Nacho because I really did respect him previously. You know, I really respected the wisdom that it seemed he had when it came to the sport of boxing. But I understand what Nacho is doing. Nacho is basically trying to protect his fighter, but he's going by it in a real foul way. Because see, Nacho, if you guys go back and you watch my older videos, when it comes, I have videos where that were titled Nacho ducking Tim Bradley. Before Nacho and Marquez decided to fight Tim Bradley, people have to understand this. Bradley had been calling out Marquez for about 3 years, 2-3 years. And Marquez was always rejecting the fight. Just like Marquez right now is trying to avoid a Provodnikov fight, which the WBO president is trying to basically put pressure on Marquez to take that fight. Marquez was avoiding the Tim Bradley fight for years as well. And like I always say in my videos, you have to understand, skill recognizes skill, okay? And Nacho is a thinking man's trainer. He's not the dumb trainer that just tells his fighter to go in there and bum rush the guy. You know, go in there like a bull and force him backwards no matter what happens. This is not Nacho. This is the reason why Nacho, he praises Floyd Mayweather so much, because Nacho is trying to get his fighters to do the type of things that Floyd Mayweather does. He recognizes skill, all right? And Nacho recognized skill when he seen Tim Bradley a long time ago. After the Manny Pacquiao fight, what did Nacho say about Bradley? He said, I'm not going to fight, we don't want to fight that stinking fighter. That fighter is a stinking, boring fighter, and that fight, we want to fight a guy who's going to give the Mexican fans a good fight. And, you know, we want to please the Mexican fans, and et cetera, et cetera. He says all of this. So let me give you the translation of what Nacho was really saying. Nacho was really saying, damn, man, you see this Tim Bradley guy? This guy is good, man. He's got the head movement, the rhythm, speed. He has a lot of heart. He'll fight you toe-to-toe. He'll box you. This dude is really dangerous. See, that's what Nacho was really saying. And if you guys don't believe me, let me give you some proof. Later on, when Tim Bradley actually fought against Provodnikov, which, by the way, proved that he wasn't a stinking boring fighter, because that was candidate for Fight of the Year. After Tim Bradley fight Provodnikov, this is when Juan Marquez decided to fight against Tim Bradley, right? Because it looked like he was a beatable fighter. Then, all of a sudden, the truth started to come out. What did Marquez say? I have a video about it. Once the fight was signed, Marquez said that Tim Bradley, is going to be a more difficult opponent than Manny Pacquiao was. And then if you read the article, what does it say? Everything that I just told you was translated from what Nacho said before, which is Tim Bradley. This is, and keep in mind, this is what Juan Marquez is saying. The reason why Tim Bradley is going to be a more difficult opponent than Manny Pacquiao is because Tim Bradley, he has head movement, agility. He can fight in the inside. He can fight on the outside. He can do so many more things that Manny Pacquiao cannot do. There is your official translation of what Nacho was saying earlier. You see, it's pretty interesting because I notice a pattern when it comes to Nacho. I remember there was a time, not too long ago, when Nacho would speak the truth and the whole truth when it comes to what he thinks about certain fighters, certain opponents, for his fighter, Juan Marquez, etc. For example, during 24/7 when Marquez was fighting against Floyd Mayweather, during 24/7 and even after the fight, Nacho, he was praising the hell out of Floyd Mayweather. Constantly talking about, Floyd Mayweather is really good, and you would see Nacho talking to Marquez like, oh man, you got to be faster than that, you got to be smarter than that, you're really fighting a special fighter. He wasn't talking like Marquez was fighting against Pacquiao. He was praising the shit out of Floyd Mayweather, right? Even after the fight, talking about, Floyd Mayweather is the Michael Jordan of the sport. The only way you're gonna beat Floyd Mayweather is if you get in the ring with a baseball bat. And he was saying all these type of things when it came to Floyd Mayweather. And I remember the funny thing is, all of a sudden, it was like Nacho just switched. And all of a sudden, it was like he was a different person. Because then he started saying the complete opposite things about Floyd Mayweather. Everything was negative. Everything was the complete opposite. And I know the reason why he started doing this. He started to do this because of his boss. His boss, Juan Marquez. I believe Marquez pulled Nacho to the side, called him on the phone or whatever, and he was like, hey, man, what's up, man? Why do you keep praising this guy? You don't work for Floyd Mayweather. You're supposed to be praising me. I pay you to praise me. Stop praising this man and telling people that he's the greatest and he's this, and he just beat me. If he's the greatest and he just beat me, how does that make me look? And after Marquez said that, that's when we started to hear a different Nacho when he talked about Floyd Mayweather. I mean, we know that Marquez is the man in charge. We know that he calls the shots. Because let's not forget, there was also a time when Marcos Maidana, he wanted to hire Nacho as a trainer. And Nacho, he was saying in articles that he was all for it. He looked forward to working with Marcos Maidana. All of a sudden, the boss came in. Juan Marquez, he came in and said, what the hell? You're not bringing this man to our gym. You training me. You training me exclusive. You're not training some guy who fights in the same division as me, et cetera, et cetera. This guy, we may end up having to fight eventually, and et cetera this and et cetera that. Juan Marquez, he wanted Nacho to himself. And Nacho basically said, yes, sir, Mr. Marquez. Because Nacho understands that Marquez is his main squeeze. Marquez is the person who made him who he is today. He understands that. Marquez is his Manny Pacquiao, as Pacquiao is to Freddie Roach. This is the reason why Nacho, he has to kiss up to Marquez. He has to take sacrifices like, turning down working with someone like Maidana to keep his main seed, or his number one seed, which is Juan Marquez. So anyway, let me get back to the comments that Nacho recently made in this interview. Now, obviously, you're not going to talk this stupid without stepping in some potholes and contradicting yourself over and over again. Another time where Nacho contradicted himself in this article is when he says that Juan Marquez was robbed by Tim Bradley. But then later on in the article, he says if Tim Bradley runs, then he's going to end up winning the fight like he did in the first fight. So he's admitting that he truly believes deep down that Bradley won that first fight. And this is the reason why people like Nacho need to keep his damn mouth shut. Because all you're doing is making Marquez look bad. You ain't doing him no damn favors. That's all I got on this one, guys. I'm on to the next one.